Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Steve Ross, Director of the USC Casden Institute and the Dean's Professor of History at USC. And on behalf of the USC Casden Institute and the USC Shoah Foundation, I welcome you all to today's screening of Colleyville, followed by a panel discussion featuring the filmmaker, the film director, and the heroes of the hostage crisis we're about to witness through real live footage. On January 15th, 2022, in the safe haven of Colleyville, Texas, Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker and three others found themselves taken hostage when a stranger disrupted a typical Saturday morning at Congregation Beth Israel Synagogue. Directed by award-winning filmmaker Danny Menken, this gripping real-life drama unfolds over an 11-hour standoff, testing their resilience and courage in unimaginable ways. Today's panel will be moderated by Dr. Brian Hughes, Director of the USC Shoah Foundation Countering Anti-Semitism Laboratory. We are also honored to be joined tonight by Colleyville survivors, Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker, Jeffrey Cohn, and Shane Woodward. Our heroic survivors will be joined by Colleyville director Danny Menken, winner of 2 Israeli Academy Awards, and Natalie Marciano, producer and writer, and the owner of Poster Child Pictures. In response to this incident, Prime Minister Naftali Bennett opened the weekly cabinet meeting in Israel on Sunday, January 16th, by telling the world, "This morning I received the good news that the hostages at Congregation Beth Israel in Colleyville, Texas, have been rescued. I want to thank the law enforcement agencies for their swift response and courageous action that brought the hostages home safely to their loved ones." This event is a stark reminder that the dark forces of anti-Semitism still exist. We must and we will fight it. To the Jewish community in the United States and the diaspora Jewry all around the world, I say, you are not alone. We are one family. We stand strong and united together. The format of today's event will consist of a screening of the documentary film Colleyville, followed by a panel discussion. The final segment of our event will be an opportunity for all of you to engage in a question and answer session with our panelists. I invite you all to submit questions in the Q&A function in the Zoom webinar at any time during the panel discussion. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce our moderator for today's event, Dr. Brian Hughes, Director of the USC Shoah Foundation Countering Anti-Semitism Laboratory, who will introduce our panelists today. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, Steve. And thank you to everyone who is joining us. It's really a privilege to be with you all here today to watch this remarkable film and to speak with these people and filmmakers who lived through it. The story that you're about to see will move you, and there are moments, I think, when you'll be on the edge of your seat. I think at the end, though, you'll be struck, of course, by the terrible threat that anti-Semitism posed that day and continues to pose to this day, but also by the resilience and the bravery of the people who lived through these events, and the love and basic decency of the community that rallied around them. Before we begin, I want to introduce our guests by name. Danny Menken is a twice Israeli Academy Award-winning writer-director residing in Los Angeles, who has cultivated a legacy of inspiring storytelling through his multi-award-winning films. These works include Picture of His Life, On the Map, Dolphin Boy, Little Town, and Is That You? These films have captivated audiences worldwide with their poignant narratives and their universal themes. Natalie Marciano is a highly regarded writer, producer, and owner of Poster Child Pictures, where she also serves as the head of film and television for Truth Lens Media. Her work includes the critically acclaimed Freud's Last Session, starring Anthony Hopkins and Matthew Good, And more recently, she executive produced The Cleanup Crew with Antonio Banderas. Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker is the rabbi of Temple Emmanuel in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He previously served at Congregation Beth Israel in Colleyville, Texas, since 2006. He spent his career working to bring a sense of spirituality, compassion, and Jewish learning into the lives of the community. He's a past president of the Southwest Association of Reform Rabbis and served on the steering committee of Peace Together. He has spoken at the White House, testified before Congress, and has been published in numerous news sources. In 2022, he was honored as a hero against hate by the Texoma Anti-Defamation League and served as a special advisor to the ADL. He's the incoming co-chair of the North Carolina Jewish Clergy Association. Since the events of January 15th, 2022, Jeffrey R. Cohn has been educating people about the need for situational awareness training, such as the kind that helped save the lives of those inside Congregation Beth Israel that day, and the dangers of the racist tropes that gave rise to the threat in the first place. He has spoken at synagogues and Jewish federations, churches, and conferences. Jeff and his wife, Karen Jewell, live in Keller, Texas, a suburb of Fort Worth, just a few miles from Colleyville. And Shane Woodward is the Ritual Practices Committee Chair at Congregation Beth Israel, where he also serves on the Communication Committee and on the board as a member at large. Shane is a board member for the Jewish Federation of Fort Worth and Tarrant County as well. Now, the film we are about to watch, Colleyville, tells their story. It is a critically acclaimed documentary, which won the Wilbur Award for the Best Picture. Morgan Freeman and Oprah, incidentally, have won this award in the past. Colleyville captures the harrowing 11-hour hostage crisis at Congregation Beth Israel in Colleyville, Texas. On an ordinary Saturday, a terrorist stormed a live-streamed service, taking innocent worshipers hostage. Led by the brave Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker, known for his unwavering values and commitment to interfaith and multi-faith relationships, including with the Muslim community, the group's resilience and the community's unity became a global symbol of hope. With never-before-seen insights, Colleyville explores anti-Semitism, courage, and faith, blending poignant storytelling with humor and a powerful message of perseverance. Without further ado, let's watch Colleyville. Quite a story and very well told. This now brings us to the panel discussion portion of this event, where we'll be speaking with Jeff, Shane, and Rabbi Charlie, as well as the filmmakers Danny and Natalie. And I would like to begin this panel by speaking with Rabbi Charlie and Shane and Jeff to ask you, how are you today? And how did it feel to watch your experience playing out on the screen like that?
Well, I guess I can go. Yeah, sure. So three years later, and the movie still gets me choked up every time. I feel like I'm doing much better, telling the story, retelling it, hearing it over and over again. I feel like I'm in a better place now. But the movie is very powerful, and it still gets me every single time.
You know, I feel very similar, and I said this within the first couple of weeks. I was doing a lot of interviews and newspaper interviews, and one of the things that I said is telling the same story over and over again and have it ending the same way each time was cathartic and therapeutic even. And it was very helpful, and it's a very good way to help process everything that's going on. You know, everybody does it their own way. Everybody has their own way of working through things. That's what works best for me.
And I'll just say that thank God that we're doing all right. I have a lot of gratitude. Certainly encourage. I mean, the mental health care that we received afterwards was very, very important. I talked to 3 different therapists myself. And also, it really helped that we received just an incredible amount of love and support. After trauma, when you get nothing but love and support, it goes a long way. And it doesn't fix everything, but it helps. And unfortunately, far too many people experience trauma these days where that's not what they receive. And that really is challenging. But I still come at this with a lot of gratitude. It's great to even be here, given what we went through. So thank God we're okay.
Yeah, and it's wonderful to have you here. If I can follow up, I'm curious, what are some of the ways that you received support, both from the folks in Congregation Beth Israel, but then maybe from the broader Colleyville community, that have helped you as you've moved on from these events?
Jeff, you want to start on that?
Yeah, to me, I find this is a great question because it shows the importance of knowing your neighbors and being part of a community. It's incredibly important. So first, we got some amazing support from Jewish Family Services from the Federation. If you ever wonder what your Federation does, that's what it does. Okay, but it wasn't just for us. It was for the whole community, and they opened up to not just the families and not just those of us who are held hostage, but to members of the congregation and members of the greater community who suddenly had that sense of safety taken away. And that was a big help. Secondly, the just amazing outpouring from both the religious and the non-religious community of, if you, there's that scene in the police car when Chief Miller is talking and they drive up the street. And what you don't see is the street that we're on. At one end is a Catholic church. Then us across the street is a Baptist church. There's the United Methodist Church. There's an Episcopal church. There's a African-American church. It's just, and it's not a very long street. That's the beauty of this whole thing. So within days, we had people reaching out. We were able to hold our services at the United Methodist Church down the street because we were still a crime scene. And for a couple of months, we were in there, and Pastor Mike was at every service. It was great. He was there. He was helping us check in. The Muslim community helped us do our security and our check-in when we were first holding services and getting it in. They took names to make sure that everybody who was coming in was somebody that we knew. So it was this kind of outreach from the greater community. Then from within our own community, we got so much food, so much love, so much people just trying to help that it was truly amazing. And you just see the good in people.
And we got that experience from across the world, right? Yeah. Our local community, it was incredible. The office space that was loaned out to us, or given to us rent-free. All sorts of just incredible assistance. But then there was the notes, the letters, the well wishes from people that we knew, people that we didn't know. It was overwhelming. And again, that love and support mattered, right? When we reopened in April. The event took place in January. And we took care because on the Friday night, we really wanted to just have our synagogue community. That was for us, that was more private. But on Saturday morning, for our Saturday morning service, we opened up the doors and we had to just basically say thank you to all the people who helped us. And we brought in on Zoom a number of people who helped us from afar, including Rabbi Buchdahl. who was there with us at that first service when we reopened. And it was, again, small things can end up making a huge difference when it comes to dealing with trauma. And so if you have the opportunity to offer that love and support, even if you don't know what to say, just to acknowledge, I know you're having a hard time, and I want you to know, you know, I'm sending hugs, I'm sending love, whether it's close or far away. Those small things can make a big difference. And for us, it made a huge difference.
Yeah, that's really a beautiful outpouring. I'd like to now move over to Danny and Natalie to ask you a little bit about the filmmaking process. Uh, First of all, can you just tell us what drew you to this story?
I mean, for me, I mean, it was amazing that when it happened, I wasn't planning to make another documentary. I was actually working on a feature film narrative, and then I couldn't stop watching it live like so many other people on TV. It was like a thriller to me. And when there was a happy ending at the end, I just followed the story, and I learned more about Rabbi Charlie, and later on about Jeff and Shane and Larry, and I was genuinely inspired by them. I was saying, wow, you know, after what they went through, they still keep their values. They haven't changed. In fact, they even doubled down about loving the strangers. And I really wanted to get to know them. So I came to Colville, a town I never knew existed. And I said, wow, you know, in this small town, we can tell much broader story. And it was a year later that suddenly we got the footage of this national event in front of our eyes. We could just see everything. You know, everything they spoke about a year before was in front of our eyes, including some funny moments of the pizza, moments of Shane wanted to convert, and to all those. I just do a lot of Q&As, and Charlie and Jeff, they know it always come up. Shane, are you Jewish?
Yes.
Because it always come up, you know. So
Well, congratulations, Shane.
Thank you.
But I think what you get at there, Danny, is really important. That telling a story like this comes with a great deal of responsibility. You might even call it a burden of responsibility. What did you know that you had to get right in order to tell this story properly?
I never worked on anything that had some true crime element to it. And that was the first time. So if you see some of my other films, and they're dealing with sport, road trip, romance, and they always have like bittersweetness and funny moments in the hardship. So as soon as I found those things I mean, now I know Charlie, Jeff, and Jane, they're funny, you know. So to find those moments in the horror that they've been through is great, because I knew all the time that the idea of fighting anti-Semitism with a story like that will be there. But what can make it really entertaining? The other element is that I didn't take into consideration that when I will be in the editing room, October 7 will happen. And everything will be amplified by that. And I hope that the reason the movie is doing well in festivals right now and people respond to it well is because in the dark moment that we are in now, we see hope and we see laughter. And I don't know if we'll ever have a happy ending in October 7, but I hope it can inspire to some better positive result.
And if I could just add to the notion that, I mean, I think that we were all concerned. There was a lot of concern about just how the story was going to be told. But as we got to see things and as we got to talk with Danny, I think that I know that some of us really pushed to really make sure that Danny had a lot of care with the Muslim community and how they were depicted and the sense of support and that sense of connection, because that was a real priority for us immediately following. And with our first public statements, we really wanted we knew, because of the relationships that we had within the community, that one of the things that the Muslim community in Colleyville and Southlake were terrified of was that it was going to become like 9/11, that they were going to be ostracized, that they were going to be attacked themselves. And we really did everything we could to offer that support for them and to stress that this was one individual, to help people understand, and to make sure that the movie really depicted the very close relationships between the communities, and it's and because of all that was built up beforehand. So that is one piece that I think it's important to note.
I think that all, in a way, points us to the elephant in the room, which is that we're presently in a crisis of anti-Semitism, but this crisis happens amid a broader context of polarization and suspicion and so on in this country and worldwide. What do you think we can learn from the experiences of that day and of this film? What can we do to help combat that rising tide of anti-Semitism, as well as bring people closer together?
I think I need to pull out my soapbox.
By all means.
Yeah, Charlie, go ahead. You want to take this one first, or otherwise I'll jump in.
Jeff, go ahead. You jump in first, and I'll probably follow up.
First of all, first and foremost, the need for all of us to have some good situational awareness training. I have said it many times, and I mean this, the training that I had gotten from the Secure Community Network, not but a couple of months before, saved our lives. And the reason is because when things happened, I knew to start moving toward the exit, run, hide, fight. I knew what to do. We continuously evaluated what to do. And in our synagogue, it's not like we got pews or anything to hide behind. And running wasn't really an option early on. But the throwing the chair, I mean, you guys see Charlie. He's not exactly he doesn't look like Arnold, right? It's not like he threw that chair. It's not like throwing that chair hit our attacker, knocked him down, and we hog-tied him, and that was that. No, it gave us that extra couple of steps. Yelling run to tell us to move. It was something that never dawned on me. I mean, we all knew we needed to go then, but he knew to say that, and he knew to do that. And that's the kind of thing you need to get from that training. So if you haven't had the training, get it. There is stuff available from, I always want to say Health and Human Services, Homeland Security. There are videos online, but far better is to talk with your federation or talk with Secure Community Network, get them in and do that training. That's number one. Number two is you have got to know your neighbors. This is not the kind of thing that you can do after an event or during an event. You've got to build those bridges early and strong, because there are going to be tough times. I mean, after a week or two after October 7, I sent a note to two of the women that you saw up there, just asking, excuse me a sec, just asking, are you guys okay? Because there was trauma there too. And the answer is no, but yes, and we'll get through it. And I mean, we don't have the best relationship now. We will rebuild it though, because we've spent the time ahead of time to build it and then you can rebuild things when times are better. But you've got to reach out now. Those are the two big things. The third thing is get to know your law enforcement folks. Our law enforcement were amazing. I have nothing but highest praises for everybody from Colleyville Police Department to the FBI, to the FBI Hostage Rescue Team, to the Combined Joint Terrorism Task Force. These folks, it's not like the movies, okay? These folks are true pros, and you know, even once everything was closed and they let us actually see some of the film, the camera footage, you know, we couldn't see a lot of the things that were going on, but we knew because we could see shadows going by the windows, that people were all around. We could see the folks that were outside, but more so when we, you know, when we escaped, and we weren't rescued, we did escape, and we got over to the elementary school where they had the command center, and we walked down the hallway, and there were 252 law enforcement officers, and they kind of split, kind of like you know, the Red Sea or the Sea of Reeds, and we walked by. I mean, that was overwhelming. But then when I looked in the gymnasium there, the rows and rows of go bags and how prepared everybody was, and just how professionally everybody was from the beginning to the end. All right, I'll step down.
No, and that's on the safety security side, it's really important. And look, with anti-Semitism being on the rise, it's important for everybody who's watching today to know, and I say this tongue in cheek, but I also mean it seriously, that I have led thousands of services, and I've only been taken hostage once, right? Like, anti-Semitism is a lot higher. The ADL report just came out, right? It is highly concerning. It is highly concerning. And look, what this movie demonstrates is this is what happens when people believe the lies. Like, what happened to us was because the gunman believed all of the conspiracy theories about Jews. And it's not okay. And that's what we have to work against. And that's what we have to push against. That's what we have to, the coalitions and building the coalitions. And there were a number of communities. There are a number of communities where strong relationships were fractured after October 7th. And one of the things that I continue to tell my rabbinic colleagues and to others as well is that even when those relationships are fractured, if we are fighting anti-Semitism alone, then it's not going to go well. Like, when it comes to war, and we can't just panic. It's happening enough that we can't freeze, that we need to be able to think strategically, respond strategically, reach out, get the assistance that we need, whether it's graffiti, or whether it's a more violent attack, whatever the situation might be. And we need this in our communities, and we need this on our college campuses. But panicking or overreach, it's also problematic. And that's not the right way to go about it either. We can thread this needle. We can work towards reducing anti-Semitism, anti-Jewish feelings. We have our work cut out for us. And we absolutely can do it. We know how, and it's just a matter of making sure that we get this done. But it's not easy. It is. It's person. Sometimes it really is person to person, relationship to relationship.
And if I could add, we can't just hide away. It's not going to get better on its own. It only gets better when we all go out and people meet us and people get to know us on a personal level. Because otherwise, the only thing people have to compare is the stereotypes. And I don't know about any of you guys, but I don't look like Woody Allen and I don't act like Woody Allen. And that's not the stereotype that I want.
All right, Jeff, I just want to say that you opened yourself up to so many comments that we're not going to make right now.
Natalie, we haven't heard from you, and I think I saw you reaching for the mute button there. What lessons do you think we can take from this?
So, I think there are a few things that we're learning from this film. One, the kind of interfaith sense of community is something that I think as Jews, especially since October 7th, we're longing for. It's realizing that we're maybe not standing alone in the face of anti-Semitism. So that is a really, really important piece, is to get more communities engaged. I think there's a lot of communities across America that really don't know how to help. And I think it's how do we enlist them sort of, in combating this negative information that's being, released. And then secondly, I really believe that we've got to kind of take our narrative back. And part of what this film specifically does, oh, that's great, is humanizes the Jewish person in America. And so it kind of isn't like anything we've seen, right? It's not the hostages in Gaza. It's not a war over there. And hang on. Sorry, it just figures that my phone starts ringing.
Oh, I don't think we can hear it. At least I can't.
Okay. So anyways, so basically speaking is, understanding that this war is happening everywhere. This anti-Semitic, culture is on the rise. And so how do we humanize the Jew? And I think Danny and you wonderful heroes here have just done such a wonderful job of doing that.
I agree, and representing Texas too. I think there's something very special about the fact that this is a Texas story, in addition to everything else. That's just a personal note. I think we have time for one last question, so I'd like to direct this to Danny and Natalie as well. This is such an important film. This is such a good film. What can people do to support it so that we can make sure that it gets the audience that it deserves?
Yeah, for me, right now I'm trying to get it to as many people as we can. We are happy to say that the response is wonderful. We just won 3 awards, and which is an indication to the way people respond to the message and to the story. We are hoping to raise support to qualify to the Oscars. It's expensive. So people want to share the trailer with others, support the film. You can check my website. I think I shared it with you before, heyjudeproductions.com. It's from the line of the Beatles, take a sad song and make it better. And I know Jeff and Charlie, who were traveling with me in a few of the screenings, they already know the drill, and they're also huge support in terms of reaching out to the crowd. And Natalie is helping us now with finding a home and distribution and doing the Oscar qualification. So this is a big battle doing independent film. But we believe in it, and we're here because of the love for it. So I hope it will find a home. If you loved it, everyone share it, please. If you didn't like it, just keep it to yourself.
Exactly. And really, if you think there is somebody that would be, into helping us with this campaign, I think it's really, really necessary. I know with the Oscars last year, without being too controversial, there was a lot of misinformation in their films that, ultimately won the Oscars. And I think we've got to combat that this year. Because really, we're not losing the war anywhere else but in the media, and we've got to win there first, right? So yeah, please do help us and reach out.
And I'll be explicit. If you'd like to help support the film, donate. Danny is trying to literally raise a few $100,000, and that will go a long way if you have the ability to do so. I strongly, strongly encourage you to participate, and that can be by talking to Danny, talking to Natalie, right, first. That can be set up. You can do that through heyjudeproductions.com, through the website, along with, if you were really inspired today, you have permission, right? We are asking. It is okay to donate, and we encourage you to do so, because, look, what we went through, it was a challenging, challenging day on so many different levels. The idea, and ultimately why we said yes to doing this, was because we believed that this kind of a film could actually really help to teach people about the realities of anti-Semitism, to teach people about the importance of multi-faith community, to teach people about what it means to, in challenging times, to still affirm that we can live our values, right? There's so many there are many important messages and there's, in addition to some really wonderful storytelling that Danny was able to do. And so it's worth supporting, and we need your help. So please give what you can, if you're willing.
I think those are wonderful concluding remarks, Rabbi Charlie. I'm going to hand it back to Steve Ross, who will conclude this event for us. But first, Rabbi Charlie, Shane, Jeff, Natalie, and Danny, thank you so much for joining us here today and helping us to learn about this story. Steve? Oh, you're muted, Steve.
We want to end now, but there was one question that came from the audience that I do want to ask, and this is for Rabbi Charlie. Did you ever communicate with any of the gunman's family?
Oh, so the answer is no. Danny actually did have a vision of, Danny reached out and tried to facilitate something along these lines. It never happened. It was something that I would have been open to. I think that I was an NPR interview from a long time ago. I have nothing but compassion for his family. One of the things that you don't hear is that, and that we heard all day long, he would get on the phone with his family and he would say that he was, he's in America and he's at a synagogue and he's taking people hostage and he has a gun. And then the next thing he would say over and over and over again is, stop crying. Stop crying. He would tell his family, right? His family didn't want this. And but we never actually had any formal communication. And so I don't know where those efforts went, but it never happened. And so I'm glad to have the question. And so Steve, thanks for asking.
Well, I want to thank Brian for moderating today's event. And I want to thank our incredible Colleyville survivors, Rabbi Charlie, Jeff Cohn, Shane Woodward. Your heroism serves as a testament to the strength of the Jewish community and our dedication to survival. And thank you, Natalie and Danny, for portraying the series of Jewish survival and the continuity during this time. It is a powerful film, and it needs to get out to a broader public. Finally, I want to thank you, our audience, for coming and sharing your afternoon with us. I look forward to seeing you at future Casden events. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you, everyone.